Well, howdy folks, and welcome to the channel. It's been a long time since I've actually posted a video. I've been really super busy doing all kinds of things like family matters and also working on the Gold Rattler production. Went to the eclipse last month down in Texas, so it's been real super busy. I really haven't had a chance to post any videos, but it's great to be back here at the claim and getting started. So what I want to share with you today is the Gold Rattler. We started production and I've already built 2 models. So I'd like to share with you some of the details of the machine itself. So it's a little bit different than the prototype that I have. It's over here behind my shoulder. So let's go over here and take a look at it. This is production number 2 of the Gold Rattler. The first one already got sold, so this one here is number 2, waiting to get sold. So anyhow, I'm going to just show you some of the details about the machine, what comes with it, things of that sort. I also recommend going to the website, www.goldrattler.com, and check out the videos. I have a whole instructional video series about the Gold Rattler, you know, and all the little details of, you know, wheeling it out, setting it up, getting it running, things of that sort. So that way you have a little better idea of how this whole thing works, okay? So be sure to go to the website and check it out. And then if you purchase a Gold Rattler, I'll also include a little flash drive with those videos on it, so that way you will know, you know, when you're out in the field or whatever, how to make this thing work. So anyhow, oh, and the other thing too is I also have a checkoff list that's on the site. It's a PDF file. You just download it, and that way it gives you a little checkoff list of all the items that you need to bring with you, so you don't forget something, you know. So it's pretty cool. So hey, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this thing. Let's start off with the upper shaker deck. So you can see right here, I have this piece of galvanized sheet metal. This is a splash shield because this new model actually splashes pretty hard, vibrates pretty hard. So anyhow, we're going to take that off for just a second so you can see a little bit more details. Down below here, we have these little studs. These studs help break up the material and rock, help separate the dirt from the rock. These are the feeder wings right over here on each side, so that way it feeds the material down to the deck. Now the deck is independent of the feeder wings. See, I'm just kind of swishing it around here. So it's all suspended by these springs on the sides, and they don't touch the feeder wing at all. So that way all the vibration occurs on this deck here, okay? You know, that way you're not wasting energy on the feeder wings. And let me just lift up this curtain here so you can get a little clearer view of what it looks like up the deck. This is made out of 16 gauge stainless steel, and you can see the studs up there. And stainless steel has some really interesting properties that allow it to vibrate without cracking compared to regular cold rolled steel. Now this upper shaker deck has all been fabricated with using a laser and CNC sheet metal bending machines to produce this. So very, very accurate, very well done, and that way you can maintain consistency of the parts. Now on the other end of the shaker deck, of course, we have our Gold Rattler emblem there, and you can see the little springs here that the deck is suspended on. And then we have our hose up here on top that feeds into the spray bar. Now this angle iron steel up here protects the spray bars from rocks, because you can just dump your rocks right on top of here with no problem. It's not going to hurt the thing. And you can see underneath here, we got the little spray bar slits down here. See there we go, right there. So that's what's spraying down on the material. So what is underneath is a vibrator motor. And I'll just bring it down here, around here, so we can see it a little better. This is a 60-watt motor, and if you notice, it's not bolted to the deck at all. It's actually suspended underneath it. So it's mounted on the sides here. You see that? And what's going on is I discovered that when you have this bolted to the deck, you end up with a dead spot right here, and you end up with vibration going backwards up the system a little bit, and that's not good. And then down there, it just vibrates independently, and it's not really synchronized, okay? So by suspending the motor down here like this, and then having it hooked up to the sidewalls, what goes on is that as this deck moves up and down, okay, it causes the sheet metal to flex just a couple of millimeters, and that gives it the vibration. And the nice thing is that you end up with this vibratory wave that actually goes down the deck to help advance the material. So now the deck is only needed to be at 6 degrees angle, so it's a fairly shallow angle, but the vibrating motor actually advances it, all the material further down. Now let's swing over here to the back of the deck. And we already have this punch plate that's made out of 5/16 holes, and this is all laser cut, so it's all part of the same deck. I'll just bring it up here. You can see it's all made by this on the same deck. It's not like a separate piece of punch plate that's been added to it. So it's very smooth, very slick, and very functional. So, and of course we have our little splash guard curtain here because the water does splash out a little bit, so we keep that to retain the water into the system. Now at the very end, kind of see down here in the corner, this little piece of material right here. See this little piece of angle iron right here? Okay, that helps flatten the deck and it keeps it smooth. And then this little bit of material here, this rubber, actually allows the water coming off the end of the deck to drop back into the sluice. So this helps save a lot of water. Sometimes what happens is that when water flows down the screen, it likes to go through the holes and then go up under the underside, okay? And because it's on the underside, it'll travel upside down all the way in and off into your tailing. So you're wasting water. So by having this, it captures that, prevents that from happening. Now, some of you are wondering, what the heck is this thing, okay? With this vertical bar and then this crossbar. Well, this is what I call a vertical stabilizer. Because what I found is that as the vibratory wave advances down the deck, it tends to crawl up the sidewalls and causes the end of the deck to shake in and out a little bit. Well, that's wasted energy. By placing this in a key location, because this had to be measured out, it actually stabilizes this sidewall, so that way all the energy stays on the deck. Because what happens is that up here on the deck, as the water and material flows down here with the vibratory wave, it comes up to here and all of a sudden it's got all these punch holes. Well, that is different than this solid area here, so therefore the wave wants to crawl up the sidewalls because that's more solid and that's where it can make its transition. Okay, so by putting that stabilizer in there, that keeps this from vibrating too much and keeps all the vibration down here on the deck where it needs to be. Now, because this deck really vibrates fiercely, okay, there's a lot of splashing going on and there could be a lot of loss of water. So what I've done is I've put these little magnets here, these little rare earth magnets right here. There's a couple on each side, okay? And so I have this corresponding piece of sheet metal that I just drop over the top of it, and it's adjustable, so you can slide it up and down as need be to help, capture the spray, keep it from splashing out into the desert, and actually retain the water in the deck. And also it helps keep you from getting too muddy as well. So anyway, that's a nice little simple addition. The fittings that you see here are made by a company called Maker Pipe, and they're make all these different types of fittings. This is a T connector, this is a T connector. Down here is an L connector right here. Okay, and it works good on this 3/4 inch EMT conduit tubing. So, and it clamps down. It works really well for the what we call the superstructure of the wash plant. So I have these in all the different locations. You see it there to help build the structure itself, and it works out really super nice. The prototype had black ones, and I chose the more steel ones to match with the pipe. Let's go ahead and move on down to the sluice. So coming off the end of the shaker deck is, I'll just kind of point it up, you can see the holes way up here, okay? And that's where all the material drops through onto this primary slick plate. Okay, the slick plate is 15 inches wide, so we have a 15-inch wide sluice. The shaker deck itself is 12 inches wide, okay? So all the material drops down here, and this upper preliminary slick plate allows the material to hit the plate, gain acceleration because it's kind of on a downhill angle, and also spread out evenly. So by the time it gets to the second part of the slick plate, which is actually underneath the sluice here, it's pretty well, fanned out so it's all even. All right, so then the material hits this little deflection plate here, and then it flows right over the sluice mat. Now, the sluice mat is made by a guy by the name of Sean Dilley, who passed away a couple of years ago. But We're still making them, but it's a double V stacked riffle system. It's super, super accurate in capturing very fine visible gold. I mean, we're talking down to 200 mesh. It really works great. In fact, I find that, you know, most of the gold is captured up here on the upper end, and I virtually find no gold down here on the last two double stacked riffles. I mean, it's that good. All right, and then down here, we have these clamps that help clamp the sluice mat to the sluice itself. To remove the clamps, all you do is just flip this little hasp here. We have one down at the other end. And by the way, these hasps are symmetrical, so they can go on either side of the sluice, all right? And then we just pop this out like so. And let's see, I'll just set it right down here on the wheel well so you get a better view of it. And there it is. And that's what holds the side of the sluice down. That's a 1/8 inch aluminum that's also been laser cut. Very precision. Now at the back end of the sluice here, we have this deflection plate. And this deflection plate takes the water and then diverts it down onto the dewatering deck. And I just want to mention that almost all the sheet metal work is all done with precision laser and CNC fabrication. So, all right, now down onto the dewatering deck. Now there's a few subtle changes to the dewatering deck compared to the prototype. First of all, we're using a different stainless steel screen. The other one was 304 stainless. This is 316 stainless. It's a little bit more rigid, a little more stiffer, but that's what you want. You want a nice stiff deck here in order to do the water separation. The other thing is that this is now made of aluminum that's been fabricated, you know, sheet metal, laser cut and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it a little bit lighter. And then, so that way we get a little bit more vibratory response. And there's our spring right here. We have 4 springs in which the deck floats on. And then we have in the center here, we have our 2 vibrator motors. Let me just swing around here to get a little better view of that. There we go. And these twin vibrator motors swing in a certain direction to create a G-force that allows the deck to vibrate up and down, forward and back. So it actually creates somewhat of an ellipse. So this is a 150 mesh screen that you're seeing here. And you can see it's just really drum tight, and that's the whole idea. And that makes it work. And so therefore it separates the water from the solids down to 100 microns. Okay, so that's really fine stuff. Now, some of you may be confused, you know, about this shaker deck. This shaker deck does not have anything to do with capturing gold. All it is designed to actually separate the solids from the liquids that come off the sluice, which is called the slurry, okay? And it separates that. All the gold is actually trapped in the sluice. So all the gold is trapped in the sluice. The dewatering deck is the first step in a filtration process where we're trying to separate as much solids as possible. Now we're just going to have a quick look at the tubs underneath here. Now these buckets that you see are loaded with sand. This particular one has 1/4 inch sand. There's 2 in each tub. The tub is 27 gallons. Okay. And then this actually collects some of the, you know, causes the suspended particles to glom onto the sand to help strip it out of the water. Okay. And then we flow down to the next set of next tub to the next set of buckets. And this has 1/8 inch sand, and that helps filter out even more. And then finally, we move on down to the pump tub where we have our pump. Now, this pump is made by Surimi, okay, and it puts out about 3,200 gallons per hour of liquid, and it's a trash pump. It can handle 1/4 inch rock. It can handle it all day long. It's designed to run 24/7. It's a continuous use pump, which is really great. And it's actually overkill for this model, but it works great. And then I can't really see it because of the water, but I have a bypass valve in here that helps operate and controls the flow that goes all the way up to the upper shaker deck here. That goes up to the spray bar there, you can see, okay? And then coming off the other end is another tube with a control valve that goes to the sand filter. This is called a pressurized sand filter. It has 1/16 inch sand that's actually contained in these bags here. And this helps filter out even the finer suspended particles in the water to help strip it out even more so you can keep recycling. This is what creates a super efficient desert wash plant, is these sand filters. That is key to making this whole operation work properly. On the other side of the machine is we have our controllers here for all the electrical. So we have our this operates the dewatering deck. This switch here operates the upper shaker deck. And then finally, the last switch operates the pump. So these are water sealed switches, where before in the prototype, they were not. Okay. So this is a little upgrade compared to the original model. Also, we have these power cords down here. One goes to the pump here. The other one goes from the generator that supplies power to this whole box here. And then dangling behind it, these are just the motors. These are the little capacitors in the motor that are right here that are dangling off to the side. Let's talk about what's included with the wash plant. Okay, everything that you see here is included. Obviously, everything that's mounted on the trailer, that's all included. That's the upper shaker deck, the sluice, and the dewatering deck, and all the components that go with it, the electrical. And also underneath the trailer are 4 jack stands. That's also included, as well as a couple of little wood base mounts to mount the stands onto. It also includes the 4 tubs of various sizes, 2 27-gallon tubs, 1 17, and 1 12-gallon tub. And it also includes the sand filters down here too. So the only thing you have to do is get the sand. So it has the inserts for it and all that. So there's 4 of those buckets that have the sand in them. And it also includes the pump, that Ceremi pump that I showed you earlier. That comes with it. That's a pretty spendy pump too, by the way. And so that's pretty much it. It comes with also a leveling tool, a couple other little knick-knacky things to help things go really well with it. Comes with special covers, comes down with the tie-down straps and all that. So when you're ready to transport, you have everything all secure. So anyhow, even with the CNC, sheet metal fabrication and all that, it still takes about 35 hours to make one of these things, okay? It's very labor intensive. I mean, this machine is really not meant for just casual prospecting. This is for the serious prospector or small mine operator who actually has, substantial, gold reserve or gold that he wants to get out and do some serious mining. And that's what I've made this machine for. It works great on old dry washer tailings, so you can actually recover gold from that. Or if you have virgin ground that you want to operate, that's what this machine is designed for. It's not really worth, if you're going to go out just prospecting and just checking things out, I suggest taking a dry washer or a little sluice recirculator out just to get familiar with, what you find. When you finally find something, that's when this machine comes into play, okay? This is where you're going to get serious, okay? So with that, this is also serious money, okay? Because the cost of labor, plus this is all custom fabrication that's going on here from top to bottom, okay? So the price tag on this, and here comes the sticker shock, $5,495. Now that doesn't include tax and shipping, that's actually extra. So what I'd like to do is, I know this is pretty expensive, but for those of you who want this plant, now by the way, I did get over 50 emails of people who want to buy this thing, which is really great, and I thank you for your interest. So what I'm going to do is that to secure your interest, to make sure you're in line for the next machine that's getting built, what I'm going to have you do is go to the website, www.goldrattler.com, go to the info email address, and send me an email saying, hey, Alan, I want to get in on this machine. I want to get in line. So what I want to do is I'll send you an invoice for a $100 deposit. Now this deposit's non-refundable, but at least this gets you secured, in line for the product. Because what I need to do is I need to start ordering a lot of the materials in massive bulk, because I plan on building the first lot of 20 machines first, and then we'll go from there and build the next 20 machines, or probably even 40 at that point as we grow, okay? So we're trying to grow the business. So with that, what I'll do is I'll send you that invoice, and then when your turn comes in line before we start production, I'll send you another invoice for half the money. Okay, so like about $2,700, okay? So when you deposit that, then we will start construction of your machine, okay? And then finally, the final amount will be due, plus taxes and shipping and all that, at the end of, we get this thing built for you, and we're ready to hand it over to you. So that's how it's going to kind of work, especially getting started. Now, if you're really hot for this and you want it right now, and you want to plunk down the $54.95, then okay, we'll work out some kind of arrangement. But at least this gives folks plenty of time to save their money. I get that. You know, things are expensive. So the other thing I do recommend is that you stop by the shop to pick it up. It'll save you a lot on shipping, because I mean, just to ship this thing a couple of states over is going to cost like $600, which is crazy. It'd be cheaper for you to come down and get it. I can probably find somebody who can transport it to you if need be. And in some cases, depending on taxing structure of the states and all this other, you know, bureaucratic nonsense, I might be able to actually deliver it to you personally. So anyhow, we'll have to work those arrangements out depending on where you live and where you're at. Now, basically, I'm talking about those people who are in the continental United States at this point. Okay. Now, as the business grows, yes, I'm definitely going to be interested in foreign exports as well, including to Australia, Africa, you know, Canada, other places where there's a lot of gold mining. So we'll definitely work that as we grow the business. So anyhow, so I hope I didn't sticker shock you too bad. And I hope this is encouraging for you. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. Let's get this thing running. There are a few things that the Gold Rattler doesn't come with. And so I just want to quickly point it out to you. You can also go on the website. I have a listing of the items that are not included that you'll need to get on your own. So first of all, you need some kind of water tank. In this case, I have an IBC tank, and this thing holds like 270 plus gallons of water. And I have it sitting in the back of my truck bed. This is a 6-foot bed, by the way, so I have plenty of room for the tank and also some of the accessories. If you have a shorter bed, you may have to rotate the tank the other direction because it is kind of a rectangular shape, or you can find some other kind of tank. So that's not included. Same with the garden hose that goes with it. And so I got a 50-foot hose here. And also the generator's not included. Now, I recommend a 2,000 watt generator. And this one here in particular has a running of 1,600 watts total. Well, I mean total 2,000, but 1,600 watt running, and which is more than adequate because the wash plant pulls about 900 watts total for the operation. So it doesn't come with the extension cord either, but I have both the hose and extension cords are 50 feet long in this case, but hey, you can make them longer if you want. Be sure that your machine is grounded in some way. That's just another precaution. Again, I have that all on the website to tell you about that. So let's go ahead and get this baby fired up. Now, of course, it's not going to start the first pull. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. All right, we're rolling. The site I've chosen today is this old dry washer tailings, okay? You can see that we have a lot of rocks on this side, which is the header pile, and we have the finer stuff over here, which is the tails that come off the dry washer. So we're going to go ahead and process this through. In fact, you can see I've been digging here before. And I just want to show you how efficient this machine is in capturing especially the fine gold and how inefficient a dry washer really is. So actually what's happened is that all the material was behind me where the Gold Rattler sits, and they brought it up here and processed it out here up on this ridge. So we're just going to go ahead and dig in here and see what we can capture. Now, I just want to point out, it's a little hard to see on the camera, a lot of these rocks, in fact, here's a good example right here, still have a lot of clay and material attached to it. Well, surprisingly, that's what also has gold in it too as well. So a lot of times these rocks just rolled right off the dry washer screen on the hopper and just fell right into the header pile here untouched. And of course, a lot of the gold followed with it. So therefore, we're able to actually take this, run it through the Gold Rattler, strip those rocks clean of all that dirt, which may also be containing gold, and capturing it on the sluice. So this will show you how, like I say, how efficient this machine works compared to using dry methods. The other beauty behind using the Gold Rattler is that you can use it all year. Where dry washing is kind of seasonal, you have to wait for everything to dry out, So what do you got? Like summertime, maybe a little bit in the fall. Who's going to be out when it's 110, 120 digging, even if you're doing it at night. So this machine here works great all year. As long as the water doesn't freeze, you can keep mining, that's the really beauty of this thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to turn on the dewatering deck first. Get that vibrating. Looks like it's doing good. Next, we're going to turn on the shaker deck. There it is. Hear it kind of humming along, okay? And I'm going to take off this little shielding so that way you can see the water splashing in here. And then we'll put the shielding on a little bit later. So now we're going to go ahead and turn the pump on. And there we go. And it's going to make a little adjustment to the sprayers. There we go. And you can see how the water is just kind of bouncing up here. That's because the vibrator is just shaking this deck, causing this water just to dance everywhere. Now I just want to bring you in a little closer so you can see this. You can see the vortex action going on down here. See how the water is swishing around with the sprayers plus the vibration? That's what washes the rock. So it's like going through a car wash. So we've got vibration plus the vortex action and everything sliding off over the punch plate. And of course everything drops, all the finer stuff, gold and everything else drops onto the slick plate and then down onto the sluice. Here you can kind of see the sluice in action. Like I say, most of the gold gets trapped up here in the first part of the ripple. And then it flows down onto the deflection plate and then down onto the dewatering deck. And of course we're not really running any material, so there's hardly any dewatering going on right now. It's just, just dropping right through the screen. So we'll get that in a little bit. We can see our sand filters and flow and everything in action here. And down to the pump tub. Now the pump tub looks a little dry, like I need to add a little bit of water, and that's normally what happens. And then we got our pressurized sand filter working over here. Now I'm going to run some material in through here. Now I want you to watch all the action going on here with the sprayers and the vortex, and watch how crazy this gets with the rocks. I mean, it just beats the heck out of the rock. So here we go. See how it's just splashing and going crazy? Look at that. Woo! That's washing some serious rock there. That's really busting it up big time. Isn't that something? It also makes quite a mess too, doesn't it? So I'll go ahead and put the shield back on, so now at least you can see the action going on in here. Another feature I want to show you is what I call the hang time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the machine with some material. It's going to flow down, get washed, and then you're going to see it come all the way down to the end of this deck and almost stop, just barely crawl. Well, what's going on is that as you feed this, it pushes the other dirt out. And so this allows that all the rocks and everything that are hung up in here to get washed. Allows them to get vibrated, shaken really hard, and washed. So as these move down, they push all the rocks here. So let's show you how that works. So it's just kind of what we call, you're feeding it in, you're pushing it out. So it's just a constant flow. So the more you put in here, the more you're going to get that action. And you can see how we got the rocks hanging up. Well, that means the rocks are still hanging up a little bit further up here. But as I add more rock into it, you can see how it's just slowly pushing out the other rock. So what this does is increases the hang time here for these rocks to get more thoroughly washed. And that's exactly what you want. So you can just keep feeding that. Don't worry about the rocks hanging off here. They're going to come off anyway. And you just want to keep this bad boy fed because this is a hungry machine. It loves to eat dirt. Woo-hoo! Let that bad boy go. And it'll just keep hanging up, but that's okay. It'll slowly just start pushing everything out. Now we wash all rocks, okay? It'll wash rocks all the way up to 5 inches, okay? So that way there's none of this screening or any of this other stuff going on. And besides that, all the material that's smaller is dropping through the punch plate right here anyway to get onto the sluice. This also allows this rock to dry a little bit better before it goes off into the tailings. So that way you're conserving as much water as possible. Look at that bad boy go. Woo-hoo! And look at that dewatering deck, cleaning that, just stripping the water off the tailings from the sluice. Look at that. Woo! So I want to show you some of these rocks. Look how, even though they're brown a little bit because they're metamorphic rock, they're just really super whistle clean. Look at that. That's exactly what you want. Perfect. And if you want, yeah, you can go ahead and slide these off. All right, let's keep running this thing. Look at the tailings coming off this plant. Look at all this black sand. Can you see that? Look at that black sand. Woo! That tells me that this is this deposit's got a lot of gold in it, maybe. Got a lot of black sand. Look at that. Very well washed rocks. Now, most of this rock is metamorphic and it's kind of deformed, so therefore it looks like it's dirty, but it's not. It's actually very clean, as you can see. Here's a piece of bull quartz. Look at that, bull quartz, perfectly clean. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. All right, but yeah, look at this black sand. That's incredible. That's a good sign. Woo! Got the plant all shut down. Now, we ran about 10 5-gallon buckets through, which is about 1/4 of a yard, okay? So let's go ahead and do a clean out and see how much gold we get. All right, first thing we're doing is put this concrete tub in here in position. And oh, by the way, this concrete tub comes with the Gold Rattler too. And we're just going to take the diversion plate, undo the thumb screws, and we're going to tip the plate so it's actually pouring into the tub. Next, we're going to release these hasps here that actually hold down the clamp that actually holds down the sluice mat. So I'm just going to pull the clamp bar out. There we go. And by the way, this is symmetrical here, so it doesn't matter which side this is on, it is the same dimension. So, and we'll just set this down, keep it out of the way, then we'll go over to the other side and do the same thing. And we'll just grab a hold of the mat. This slides out really super easy. As we pull this mat out, we got to be cautious that this is the end of the sluice mat. This is the top. This is where most of the gold's going to collect, is right up here. So this is going to be the most important part. So we're just going to gently lift it up, and we're going to flip it upside down. And just keep in mind that this part here, that's in my left hand right here, is the top of the mat. And that's the end of the mat. Now, like I say, I rarely find any gold down here at this part of the mat anyway. So I'm just going to keep it so this part of the mat still stays within the tub. All right. And so now we're just going to just clean off this with a little bit of water, and then we'll take and shake the mat. All right. So we got ourselves a reasonably flat spot here to wash this. So I added some water into the tub. So I know that this side here was our side that had the most concentrates. So I'm just going to splash that around, get all that material out of the riffles. And yeah, just like my friend Jeff Williams says, you're going to get wet. There we are. It looks like we got it pretty well cleaned out. I mean, there's a couple of rocks that are, wedged in here. We can pop those out with my finger or a screwdriver, no big deal. Don't see any yellow in here, which is good. Yeah, hopefully it's down in this tub. With the cons safely into this tub, we can go ahead and just kind of pour it off into this bucket, and then we can take it up to pan it out. So just going to shake it a little bit, get it more over to the corner. There we go. Boy, look at all that black sand in there. That's awesome. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Wow. Oh, I hope we get some gold out of this. We'll see what the old timers left behind. There we go. All right, let's go pan this out. So we're just kind of pouring the cons into the pan here. There we go. Now the pan I'm using is a Maverick pan, made by Snake River Products. Everybody's got different pans. I like this one for panning out my cons. Other people have different ones, but that's just how I roll. Okay, so now we got our cons in here. Boy, look at all that. Well, look at it. Can you see this, folks? Look at that nugget sitting right on top. Little tiny picker. See that? Right there. Amazing. Before I pan it, I like to do a little spin it off action here. This is kind of a rotating magnet system that hooks to a drill, and it allows me to extract the black sand. And the way it's designed, let me just show you real quick. You see that? See how the black sand is bouncing around? Well, the gold can't stick to that. Look at that. That's a lot of black sand there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump it off into a cup, and we'll pan it out later just in case. All right. Wow. Boy, the magnetics are really intense on this one. Woohoo! Hope that nugget or that little picker stays in the pan here. All right. Well, this just makes it a little easier to pan because you're not dealing with all that black sand. So it looks like we got at least all the magnetics pretty well out now. Look at that. Yeah, all the magnetics are pretty well out. All right, so now we can go ahead and pan this thing and see what we get. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle this. And we're just going to try to get the concentrates to fit right down here in this part of the pan. And I'm slowly tipping it forward. And now I'm just going to do a little cut here, a little cutting action. Okay, and even though it's in the shade, let me flip it around here so you can see it better. Get a little sunlight on it. There we go. All right. And because I'm right-handed, I just got to spin this around this way, so you'll have to just excuse me for this. All right, and then we'll spin it back this way, do another cut, try to get rid of some of the bigger rocks. Ooh, wow, look at that. Look at that garnet. Isn't that a beauty? Look at that. Holy smoke, that's the biggest garnet I've ever seen. Look at that baby. Wow. That thing's at least, well, it's bigger than an 1/8 inch. It's probably at least about 3/16. Look at that thing. Wow. Sweet. Well, I'm going to keep that one. Put that in the little container here. Bang. Wow, that's awesome. All right, let's see what other goodies are down here. All right, let me just kind of reshuffle this a little bit. All right, and we'll pan it out here. Get some more of these concentrates, or get more of these heavy chunks of black sand out. All right, and I'm starting to see the gold show up, so let's go ahead and reshuffle here a little bit. All right, so let's do our little pan here. So I'm just going to move all the black. Oh, look at this. Holy smoke, folks. Look at this. Nice little nugget. Look at that. Woo! Isn't that awesome? It's a specimen. It still has the quartz attached to it. Look at that. We'll get a closer up shot here in just a little bit. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, okay, I'm going to stop panning here for a second. Now, I just want to remind you, these are dry washer tailings. These are tailings. This is not even virgin ground. Holy smoke, look at the good stuff in here. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see what else is, what other treasures lie below here. This is fun. Okay, now I don't know if the camera can see it, the camera resolution, but I've just got dots of gold all through here, through this pan. I don't know if the glare is kind of inhibiting that. I mean, I can see it from my angle. It's just loaded. Oh yeah, look at this coming in here in the corner. See all this? All this finer pieces of gold. Nice little, oh, look at this coming in here. The more chunkies. Oh, am I seeing more? Oh, look at that. Wow, I just whacked that one away. Look at that. Isn't that something? Look at all the nice pieces of gold we got in here. Let me see if I can bring this up closer to the camera. Well, here, let me just kind of reshuffle this a little bit so you can kind of get a better shot at this, and I'll bring it up to the camera. Let's see if we can bring this into the camera for you so you can see it. There we go. Perfect. There's a piece right up here. There's a whole smattering. And if you look carefully, you can see, I don't know if the camera resolution is good enough, you can see all the fine little pieces down to like at least, oh, I'm seeing 200 mesh easily. That is fantastic. Now, let's have a look at that specimen gold and that garnet. Isn't that something? I mean, this is amazing. This is only 10 buckets from dry washer tailings. Wow. I can imagine what the old timers were actually getting if this is the stuff they left behind. This is amazing. Now, what's cool about dry washer tailings is the old timers did all the work for you. And now we can come back and it's easy diggings. Look at that. Nice little treasure. Not bad for just 10 buckets. Woohoo! Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the new Gold Rattler production model number 2. Now, before we close, I do want to make you an offer. Now, because we use this machine, and it's a little dirty, but I promise to clean it up, I will give the first person who's interested a 10% discount on this model because obviously we used it. And of course, you saw it work, so you know it's good. So anyhow, I just want to pass that on to you, let you think about it. So the first person to go ahead and send me an email and contact me. And if you want it, make a deal. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I had a great time. It's good to get back out here again and just kind of enjoy it. It's a great day and all that. So if you love this video, be sure to smash that like button for me because that really helps me out in the algorithms of YouTube. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the little bell so that way you can get future updates on my videos whenever I get around to posting them. So, and in closing, I just want to wish you the very best in prospecting adventures. Get out there and find some gold, because you saw it today. It's still out here. And we'll see you next time, and thank you for watching.